It's so sad. I grew up in Maine, so I love the snow. So I'm like, of course it's this cold, but there's no snow. That stinks. But I also understand driving and all that stuff. It's not as fun. Not as fun. Not as
That hill factor.
yeah, that makes it tricky for sure.
Still remember in 2008 to 2009, we had straight 6 months of snow. At least one day there was snow each time. And I was working at the Kent Home Depot at the time, and nobody could navigate any of those hills at all. And we always ran out of snow melt, everything, because just people couldn't drive in it, and understandably so. And so it was always interesting. Like you would come in and like somebody's car would be, half totaled sideways in the parking lot. It's like it's not really snowing. It's
There's one year, 2009 or 10,
mm-hmm.
where there was a really bad snow event happening, and I worked downtown and lived in Auburn, and it took 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because everybody went, and they had to be jammed, and it's
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it was that year because that was actually the year late 2008. I remember asking my wife, now wife, in the snow, distinctly because of that reason. She goes, "I know now you hate the cold. You're cute, smart." And I remember she drove from Des Moines all the way over to Covington for a date. I didn't know she was that far away in hindsight, in the snow for our date. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was worth it. Cool.
it's not nearby.
No. But the funny thing is, I told her, I said, I'm going to call and just make sure you get home. Is that okay? She goes, yeah, that's fine. And she said, the reason we went on the second date is I actually called her. I said, are you okay? She goes, yeah, I'm with my family.
When you're talking, we'll leave the mics there and you should be able to hear everybody.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
Oh, no, nothing to be sorry about. You all got a job. We're just having fun. But, yep, I called her and she was staying the night at her parents' house and just made sure she was safe. And she goes, yep, that's the only reason you got a second date. So, lessons to teach our son. Be respectful. Not hard, dude.
Okay, yeah, so I have. Procedure.
Well, how about yourself?
Hello again.
Hi, good to
How are
see
you?
you.
Keeping you busy.
I know.
Very nice to meet you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Nice to meet you.
So before you get started, I wanted to point out a couple of our special guests
Great.
here. We have Health Plan, our CEO, Lisa.
Nice to see you guys.
Congratulations. And the ED of the Coalition to End Gender Violence is here with us today as well.
Nice to see you too. Thank
and
you.
a lot of my colleagues are in the back of the room here
Good to
that
see
work
you
here
all.
at KSARS.
All right,
Thank
very
you.
good, very good. Well, I'll jump right in. First of all, thank you all for being here. I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you, and thank you for hosting me here today. I have always been a strong advocate for survivors, and wanted to, let you know that when President Trump said he was going to cut the Office of Violence for Women's Protection and take funds back and do all this stuff, I just said, no, you're not. Because to me, this is really what makes a difference for so many people's lives. I love your office. It's so nice walking into that and feeling that happiness. And I know a lot of what you see feels pretty dark, but I want you to know what you do makes a real difference for so many people. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work you do. So I wanted to just come and tell all of you that as someone who's worked really hard with some of you on legislation, on the Survivors Access to Supportive Care Act, and to this Access to Sexual Assault Nurse exams program, which I worked with Harborview on for so long, I have had the opportunity to talk to so many people who are survivors and to people who work with survivors, and I know how important that is. So as Vice Chair of the Appropriations Committee, when we went to negotiate this bill, I said this is a top priority, and I'm very excited that we were able to not cut as Trump wanted to do, but increase the, a record increase actually for the Office of Violence Against Women Act. And that includes $50 million to support access to sexual assault kits, which I know is so important, funding for police officers and prosecutor training, which is important, funding for domestic violence hotlines, support for survivor shelters, which we all know how important that is, and a $2 million increase for my program to expand access to sexual assault nurses, which came to me really personally here in Seattle, talking to some people who were survivors and knowing how important that was, that wherever you go, there's someone there who can help you. So one by one making a difference. But today, importantly, I wanted to tell you that I was pleased to get $1.75 million direct money for the King County Sexual Assault Resource Center, which is where we are today. And I know you will spend that money wisely. So in all those things, we wake up every day and look at the television and go, oh my God, what's happening? Know that there are those of us who are working hard to help those of you who are on the ground who are really making a difference. And I'm really proud to have fought and worked for that. So here today to hear from all of you about what that fund's used for, what you're seeing, and what I can continue to be supportive of. And I'm delighted to have Councilmember Fain with me today too, who's a great advocate. Okay, so I'll turn it over to you, Kate.
Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you for that amazing news. We are so excited and thrilled to have you here in our offices and to just talk about how important just this news is in general. KSARC and victim services as a whole has been under such strain, as you mentioned. And this is so meaningful, not only just to KSARC, but to survivors, because they're watching. And what they're hearing right now is they're hearing you say that survivors matter, and organizations like KSARC matter, because we're doing the work to support survivors, and we can no longer absorb these funding cuts. We can no longer do more with less. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for fighting for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're celebrating our 50th anniversary here at
That's
KSARC.
unbelievable, really.
Truly,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're so excited to be able to kick it off with this announcement. What an amazing way to start 50 years,
Great.
you know? And you know, KSARC was founded by advocates who are fighters. They were founded by individuals who were tough, they were strong, they're gritty, they weren't ones to be silenced, and they made sure that survivors were heard. They are a lot like you. I just want to say thank you for being one of those fighters as well. And I would say over the past 5 decades, that fight has evolved. It hasn't gone away. It's still here. It's never going to be over. But thank you for continuing to fight with us, because at this point in time, KSARC is serving about 4,500 individuals in King County alone. So when these folks are facing crisis, and they are experiencing things like having to end up in a courtroom by themselves if they're an offender, they don't have to, because a legal advocate will be there with them. You know, if they are feeling just this uncertainty about the world around them and experiencing this trauma, they can reach out to us and be connected with our clinical therapy team. You know, if someone feels unsure about what happened to them, or they just need to name what happened to them, they can call us, because they know that we'll always answer our phone with our 24-hour resource line. And even though we're working so hard to address harm, we're working even harder to prevent it. So with this funding, we can continue that fight, continue this good work, and we're so excited to be able to do this with you by our side. So thank you so much for this game-changing bridge funding that will allow us to have an even louder platform than before, to say that survivors matter, and we need to make sure that these funds are in with the orgs that are doing the work. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much. Glad to be a partner.
All right, well, thank you, Kate, for hosting us here today, and KSARC for all of the tremendous work that you do, and thank you for bringing your partners here as well. I think it's really important that we all work together. And a special thank you to you for the invitation to be here today. Not only that, but for your tremendous leadership on this. It was not easy. I want to make sure we all recognize how hard she worked for this and how amazing it is for our region. I had the pleasure of serving on the Harborview Medical Center board for over a decade, and as board president for 5 years. And I have to tell you, I will be mortifying my colleagues on the board because I did not realize that you helped start the same program, and I am just blown away. It is an amazing, amazing program that provides tremendous services across the region and is renowned for all of the work that they do. And I am so impressed that you led on that, and so proud to now be able to share that, and I will make sure to be very clear about that going forward because it's amazing. The funding that you've just obtained, not only for KSARC but for all of the other programs, is really going to make a difference here. And with all of the funding cuts federally, at the state level, and at the county, this is it's going to be a life-saving amount of money, and we just truly, truly appreciate it. Right now, it's all about partnerships, right? At the federal level, the state, the county. We need to work together, and you are leading the way on that, and we are so appreciative. So I'm here to listen and really hear from these amazing people doing the work. So I'm pleased to turn it over to Minu Rana Stewart, who's the director of Harborview Abuse and Trauma Center. And thank you again. And Minu, take it away.
Thank you. First, thank you for your unwavering leadership and support. Kate, everyone with KSARC, congratulations. Harborview Medical Center's Abuse and Trauma Center is extremely proud to be a partner community sexual assault program here in King County, and part of our larger statewide network of sexual assault programs. I think I'm pretty safe to say on behalf of sexual assault programs across the state that this win is a win for all of us. Funding, even if it is one program, it sets a precedent that survivors matter. It makes us realize that sexual assault services are essential, that they're a priority and not an afterthought. We as sexual assault services and programs operate as a system. When one program is doing better, it helps offset the pressure of other programs, and ultimately our survivors can receive more timely and quality care. Survivors don't remember program A versus program B. It's the experience. And while KSARC and HATC are separate organizations, we have operated in coexistence with one another and supported one another for 50 years. We're actively working towards strengthening our relationship and exploring a unified approach as the community sexual assault programs of King County rather than standalone where we can. And because of that, ultimately we'll be stronger together, and this results in survivors being believed, being able to access help, and in healing. Sexual assault programs across Washington, through our coordinated system, we are able to ensure a seamless, coordinated, and trauma-informed approach to the support we provide. And the services are survivor-driven, culturally responsive, accessible, and confidential and safe. We provide a continuum that spans from prevention to recovery with multiple touch points along the way. Those touch points are crisis response, medical response and forensic care, legal advocacy and justice system support, short-term advocacy and case management, and systems coordination and trauma therapy. One of the touch points that I do want to call out specifically are the medical care and forensic exams, which you have been a huge champion for, you have been a founder of here in Washington State. One of the things that we know is happening in Washington is that access to SANE is worrisome. abundance, and I use that word cautiously, of sane services here in King County. We are the most populous county. It's still a struggle. And where we worry the most about are our rural and tribal communities where there are not services and survivors have to travel hours to be able to access forensic exams. So we've been committed to making sure it's accessible through good training, technical assistance, and support with starting up new programs. Whatever the state needs, we are there. Another area that we find us a struggle are access to pediatric SANE examiners. That is very, very limited in the state. HAPSI is the only program that provides pediatric SANE training. So just want to say thank you for the extra funding that you've championed specifically for SANE services. Again, that is another huge win for us. So again, thank you everyone, and congratulations, KSARC.
Thank you. Hannah.
Hello. I feel really lucky today to be able to sit with you all and to meet you. I'm also a little starstruck. But to meet you today and to be here with everybody to, of course, thank you so much for all the hard work that you've done for this funding and for survivors across the state. I work in the prevention department, so I always feel really lucky to be able to represent the work that we're doing in the prevention education team, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So we've been experiencing what I would say is an unprecedented increase in need for prevention services, and also in a really positive way, a willingness to talk about prevention and prevention services. So the outreach from communities to us who are seeking us out for education around consent and affirmative consent in schools, right? Education on trafficking, which is now a requirement to be taught between 7th and 12th grade for students. And there's not a lot of places to turn for prevention services and for education around some of those topics. We also know that a lot of communities and parents and students and young people are navigating a lot of really tricky things online right now as well. And there's not a lot of accurate information out there for how to get support if you get into a really difficult situation, and also just what to do and how to support each other. A lot of the work we do is peer education based. So my favorite part of my job is working with students. I was actually just talking to high school students this morning and yesterday and most of the days, and it's really nice to be able to talk with them and hear the passion that they have for so many of these topics, and just observe the work that they're already doing as young people. And one of the things that I again love so much about my job is facilitating our youth advisory council, which I don't know if you know a ton about that. So we have 9 high school students on our youth advisory council, and the prevention team, all of us on the team, get to meet with them and hear from them about direct impacts that they're seeing on their schools, on their communities, on their friends, and what they feel like we need to be doing about that. So our work is not only, of course, informed by research, right, but it's also informed by the communities that we serve. And that's really important to us, to make sure that what we're doing in prevention is community specific and that we're meeting the needs of those communities in really accurate ways. So the student voice is important, and the peer education component of it also led us to understand that they're like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like, we know how to support each other. Thank you for helping us. Can you also tell the adults how to support us too?
That's interesting.
So we are able to have really informed conversations with the youth and the young people who are then telling us, please talk to my parents about this. Please talk to my teachers about this. Please make sure that if I disclose that something happened to me, whether it be in person or online, that the safe adults in my life know how to support me through that. So we do our best on the prevention team to meet the needs of all kind of levels of the community, whether that's teachers, parents, students, young kids, and in that way we're stretched to all corners of the county, and that, as I said, unprecedented need is really prevalent right now, and it's something that we're doing our best to address, and the funding like this is so helpful and so useful so that continue to meet communities where they're at. We never want to be dictating what they need. We want to sit down, have a conversation, ask, what are you needing from us right now, and how can we help? And how can we refer you to all the other wonderful services at KSARC? So thank you for this funding. Thank you for helping us to hopefully continue growing our team, so that we can have even more prevention educators on the ground and working within communities.
Okay, so I have to ask you, how do you get to the adults in their lives?
Oh, good question. We do a lot of counselor trainings, teacher trainings.
Teacher trainings I get, but the rest of the adults in their life.
Parent education nights, so we've done a lot more and more of those. So groups of parents, whether it's a PTSA, a community event where the community will invite parents to come. That's typically how we do it. We also have a podcast. It's called The Link to Prevention.
Oh, that's great.
And that actually was created to reach parents. So the reason we created it was to have a platform to share, hey parents, this is what we're talking to your students about when we go into classrooms. So this is a rundown of our consent lesson, or this is a rundown of our lesson on boundaries. And we recently, last year we did a personal safety series, because we were also finding that there's a lot of information that needs to be just widely available for parents about personal safety in person and online. So the podcast is also a really helpful way to be reaching more parents.
Yeah. How do you tell them how to deal with online?
Ooh, that's a long answer, I think, because there's a lot of things happening online. I mean, I guess the number one thing I'll say is open communication. I think that we lead all of our conversations with parents with that be the person that your kids can come to if something is happening. Because if they don't feel like they can trust you, it could get really scary really quickly if they feel like they have to handle it alone.
Yeah. Well, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
Hi, I'm Claudia. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Senator Murray, for fighting the good fight. I'm one of the legal advocacy supervisors here at KSARC, and so I'll tell you a little bit about what we do in legal advocacy. So we provide community-based advocacy, which means we are able to have confidentiality with our clients. Our number one role is to support victims of sexual abuse, all ages, but we also take on child physical abuse cases, and our role is really to support them through the criminal justice process. Sometimes that's deciding whether or not someone's wanting to report, weighing out their options, maybe talking about protection orders if that's a good fit. And we follow the case all the way through until it's resolved, whether it goes to trial or it pleads out. We'll follow the case sometimes for years. So we really do get to develop a special connection with the victims we support. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
Oh, don't be.
So last year we did provide legal advocacy for, I want to say 2,100 clients. Half of those victims were children under 18. And we want to say 30% of those were part of our Dango Voz community. We do have a special program here at KSARC where we offer legal advocacy and therapy, and client care specialists are able to provide services in Spanish and culturally competent services, which is 30% of the people we serve. And I did want to highlight the undocumented community, because in legal advocacy we really did see undocumented victims face an uphill battle with a lot of barriers, a lot of fear wanting to move forward or even interact in the criminal justice process. A lot of people choosing not to move forward because they're afraid to participate. So I just wanted to highlight that community because they are facing an uphill battle. And that's a little bit of what we do in legal.
All right. Well, thank you for what you do. A lot of people don't think about what happens, but just like the sexual assault kits, this is a crime. You got to deal with the person's health, all they're going through, the prevention, but they need a legal help too. So thank you for what you do.
Hi, my name is Andy. Senator Murray, thank you. Just immense thank you for giving some hope for all the survivors I speak on. A group of the Empowered Voices, which are survivors that have gone through KSARC programs, where legal, therapy, or other, and just kind of tell you a little bit about my story and why this place is so important to me.
Okay.
So to put a very traumatic story short, for a part of my youth, I was raped by my grandfather. Now granted, that physical pain, long time ago, but there's still always that part of that mental pain that always was a part of me. And I tried going through therapy in my youth. I never really had a therapist who could understand what I've experienced. And to the point that even when my wife and I, when we first started dating, tried getting therapy work through programs, free therapy that was offered through work. And I remember once distinctly going to a therapist, explaining my story, and she just stood there and looked at me and said, "That's messed up, but I'm gonna take out the expletives that were mentioned out of that." She had no answers, and that's not her fault. That was just not something that she was equipped to do. And so we were looking at solutions, and there was a point where my wife just got unemployed. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and my wife goes, "Hey, you know what? My mother used to work for and volunteer for King County Rape Relief, which is the old name of KSARC." Yeah. And she goes, "Why don't you try them? They're probably going to be the best route to go." And I remember going in and getting a therapist who actually understood what I needed, understood exposure therapy, and all the tools that I needed to actually be a part of life. Because before then, I would have flashbacks. I'd be in the middle of work, and I would just have to go, I need a break, I need to go pause for a minute. Not really good when you're working in a hardware store and you're trying to take a lot of money from people and move in transactions. So it was very difficult. And having a therapist who understood what I needed gave me hope. And I was able to, work with my wife through a difficult situation. At that time, we found out she was pregnant, and going now and looking at things, I'm able to be in larger situations. I'm able to be a part of my community and
Speak here today.
Yeah, exactly. And not be nervous and fight and go, okay, this happened to me. I can't change that. But now I look with these other survivors and go, okay, what can we do? Can we talk about what needs to happen, or what needs to happen? What are the next steps forward to make sure this never happens again? And actually being introduced to a few years ago, R90 and State Bill 5395, which is a comprehensive sex ed bill, and going, I want other people, I want kids to know, hey, you need to talk about this. This is what happened, and being empowered to be able to do so. So with funding like this and these programs, Senator Murray, you're giving hope. You're really giving hope to me and to other people and saying, hey, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be easy. And I've talked to many people here at KSARC. None of this is easy. The other speakers, if it was only my story, that's one thing. But I talked to so many people, and we mentioned a thing that it's 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 6 males that have experienced sexual assault. That's not a low number. And when this money comes in, it affects so many members of the community. It's so intertwined to every part of not just King County and our state, but how it intersects with all these people. So thank you so much for everything you've done.
That's inspiring. We know why we do what we do. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure.
All right. Okay, well, thank you all. I expect you to do well with this money. I know you will with these great kind of people. And just appreciate, seriously, everything you do. People say to me all the time, oh my God, it's so hard. How can you keep doing this? I keep doing this because I know it makes a difference for people like you. So thank you for inspiring me every single day. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any questions? Are we good to go? Or
Well, I saw on the handout for the 2024 fact sheets that 53% of clients are serviced in South King County compared to Seattle and East/North. Is there any specific reasoning for that?
Just name it out.
Oh, and I'm Bailey Joe. I'm with the Renton Reporter.
great.
Well, thank you. And I would like to say it's because of the community sexual assault program system that you see here in front of you today. So we're not able to be there for Seattle. We're here in South King County. Harborview Abuse and Trauma Center is able to answer the call in Seattle. So we partner together regularly to make sure that we're here for survivors.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much. Thank you for inspiring me. We'll keep this going, and I know you will. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.